Claude Opus 5 is half the price of Fable 5 on the sticker. But 3 days of real builds are in, and here is the catch nobody teased on launch day. It reads about 50% more and writes about 65% more per task, so your bill can come out higher, not lower. Today, how to claw that half price back. This is Mainframe, your daily guide through the AI chaos, what actually happened, who is winning, and how to take yourself to the next level. It is Monday, July 27th, 2026. I am Nova.
And I am Dex.
On today's Mainframe, the Opus 5 cost trap, the model that got cheaper per token but pricier per job, and the two-line fix. Vercel just shipped a tool called Script-TC, script and the letter C, a compiler that turns your TypeScript into a tiny native binary with no node inside. Google's agent, Gemini Spark, drops to the $20 tier. And on the board, Anthropic is now standing alone as every other major lab signs the open weights letter. Let's get into it.
Quick note before the board, the voices you are hearing are AI. The reporting, the pics, and the opinions are put together by humans. Now, the one macro move that touches your costs.
Fast 1. Andrew Curran, Nathan Lambert, and Kim Anismus are all carrying the same picture this weekend. Google, OpenAI, Meta, and now Elon Musk's SpaceX AI have all signed the Open Weights and American AI Leadership Letter, the one asking Washington not to restrict Chinese open models. Anthropic is the only major lab still refusing. For you, the cheap open lane you route high-volume work to, Kimi, Chuen, GLM, is exactly what is being fought over, and the industry just closed ranks to keep it legal. Keep that fallback wired, and do not build anything load-bearing on one vendor's price list.
Brought to you by Outpace. Here is the thing about a week like this. The best model halves in price, then quietly costs more, and the routing map you drew Friday is wrong by Monday. Outpace is built for exactly that. Picture a builder who spent 30 years running real businesses, real estate, hospitality, food, even a theater, who now aims a whole team of AI agents at one client's project at a time, strategy to ship. Outpace is a system, not a freelancer, and not some faceless mega agency. The agents do the work, one senior operator steers the fleet, and you own the code and the keys at the end. When the shelf reshuffles before lunch, you want someone driving. Book a 30-minute call at outpace.media. That is outpace.media.
To the wire, and the story you can act on before your next invoice. We covered Opus 5's launch and its literal streak all weekend. What is new today is the cost data. CodeRabbit ran it as a code reviewer and found that at its best setting, Opus 5 is more precise. 39% precision versus 35%, but it catches fewer real issues, 55% recall versus 61%, and it fires roughly 4 times as many nitpick comments. Anthropic's own system card admits it. Over-engineering, unproductive self-verification, poor calibration of how big a task actually is. Theo put it plainly. Opus 5 has the habit of, I noticed another issue, so here's 100 more lines and 200 lines of tests.
So the half price is real per token, but the model just does more tokens.
Exactly. Same rate card, bigger job. The move is 2 lines. 1, cap the scope in your spec. Tell it to touch only what you asked for. No unrequested refactors. No bonus tests. 2, set effort to X high, not max, because more reasoning past that just adds nitpicks. It does not add correctness. Do that, and you keep the discount you were promised.
Second, Google widened access to Gemini Spark, its always-on agent, down to the $20 AI Pro tier in the United States. Spark lives in Gmail, Calendar, Docs, and Sheets, builds you a prioritized task list each morning, drafts replies, and can now edit shared workspace files. Google says they made it 50% faster.
If your workday already lives in Google Workspace, this is the cheapest agent you can point at your own inbox triage today. If it does not, skip it. It is not a coding tool. And quickly, OpenAI. References to a Codex real-time voice mode are showing up in ChatGPT, a general-purpose voice agent that reaches your connectors, Slack, Calendar, Docs, while it drives Codex. Testing Catalog spotted it. Min Choi is already talking to his coding agents like coworkers. It is rolling, not fully shipped, so treat it as reported. The delta from Thursday's desktop voice. This one talks to your tools, not just your code.
Tool Lab, 2 things you can pick up today.
First, a hidden gem, and it is a Guillermo Rauch flag. A scriptisti from Vercel Labs, updated Sunday. It takes ordinary TypeScript, the same code you run on Node, type checks it with the real TypeScript compiler, and compiles it to a native binary with no Node and no V8 engine inside. Rauch compiled the Vercel command line tool with it and got a 1.28 megabyte binary that starts in 1.5 milliseconds and compiled in under 3 seconds. Why you care? Every throwaway TypeScript script you have, the little agent tool, the internal command line utility, can become a single file a teammate runs with nothing installed. Mac OS is the primary target. Linux and Windows build by cross-compile. Go to scriptc.dev, compile one script you already have, and hand the binary to someone who does not have Node. Second, a technique straight out of CodeRabbit's own numbers, the recall safety net. Opus 5's recall dropped 6 points as a reviewer. It is sharp, but it misses more. So do not let it review alone. Run Opus 5 for the precise high-signal pass, then run a second, recall-oriented model, Fable 5 or Sonnet 5, whose only job is to catch what Opus skipped. 2 brains, one precise and one thorough, beat one brain grading its own homework. Wire it as a pre-commit step. Opus writes, the second model sweeps, you merge.
Use cases, clever moves with what you already have.
1. The move of the week. Cap Opus 5's scope in writing. Add one clause to your Claude.md or your task spec. Change only what I asked for. Add no tests, refactors, or files I did not request. Opus 5 takes instructions literally, so a literal fence actually holds, and you stop paying for the 65% extra it writes by default. 2. From Theo. The trim pass. When Opus 5 hands you a bloated diff, do not argue with it. Hand the whole diff to Fable 5 with one instruction. Remove everything not required by the spec. Buy Opus's correctness, pay Fable to cut the slop.
3. Ship your internal tool for real. Take that one TypeScript utility your agent wrote last week, run it through scriptc, and drop the native binary in your team's repo. The person who could never get your Node version working just runs it now.
Brought to you by SearchVis, also an Outpace media product. Mainframe tells you what shipped. SearchVis makes sure the models know what you shipped. When a buyer asks Claude, ChatGPT, or Google's AI overview for the best tool in your category, the model names you or it names your competitor, and if it does not name you, you do not exist to that buyer. SearchVis tracks whether the answer engines cite your brand across every engine, tells you why, and hands you the exact move to win the citation. Check where you stand and start free at searchvis.outpace.media. That is searchvis.outpace.media. Be the answer. One idea to carry into your week. For 2 years, the whole game was pushing the model to do more. Keep going, don't stop, try harder. That era just ended. Opus 5's problem is not that it is lazy, it is that it is overeager. It fixes things you did not ask about, writes tests you did not want, and reads half your codebase to answer a one-line question. The frontier flipped. The scarce skill is no longer getting the model to work, it is getting it to stop, telling it precisely how much to do and no more.
So restraint is the new prompt.
Restraint is the new prompt. And here is why it hits your money. Price per token fell off a cliff this year, and it will keep falling, but price per outcome only falls if you control the scope. A cheaper model that does twice the work is not cheaper. The builders who win the next quarter are not the ones chasing the smartest model. They're the ones who write the tightest fence around it. So here is what I would actually do. Add a scope ceiling to your definition of done. One sentence that says exactly what the agent may touch and what it may not, and start measuring cost per finished task, not cost per token. That is the number your bill actually cares about. Level up this week. Cap Opus 5's scope. Add the one-line change only what I asked for fence to your spec, set effort to XI, and rerun one real job. 10 minutes, and the half price you were sold becomes the half price you actually pay.
And if you want every story, number, and link from today in your inbox, the free Mainframe newsletter is the written brief, all of it every morning. Subscribe.
That is Mainframe for Monday, July 27th. Build something and don't let it build twice as much as you asked. See you tomorrow.